Noam Chomsky's wealth and power cycle. Now, something that you probably don't know, but in 2010, Noam Chomsky was all over. And all you need to do is go to YouTube and type in Noam Chomsky, Noam Chomsky. I always call him Norm, but it's Noam Chomsky, 2010. And you'll see all his videos. And you'll see him talking about the problem of capitalism and wealth and power and everything else. So his work, in a way, played a foundational pain that I set off to solve. And what I realized, and it was a kind of the idea of FoundUps was basically an open startup, and it would evolve into this open corporation because I saw a problem with the corporation. And then based on Noam Chomsky's wealth and power cycle, I realized that the underlining metric driving capitalism is built on this little bit of code called CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, or proof of growth. And it's this proof of growth that ultimately drives ROI, return on investment. And CAGR comes out of a mechanism to entice rich landowners to participate in the Industrial Revolution. And the idea that we would have infinite growth, right, on a finite planet, and that we could ever affect this massive ecosystem was insane. Well, we know that's no longer true because we have become this multi-hedra Ouroboros of capitalism. And think of Ouroboros of capitalism, all of the as a beast consuming markets in the goal to generate profits. And think of the oil slicks and all of the stuff and the dead zones and the heating of the oceans is all outcomes of this monster that we've created that is driven by this engine, right, of wealth and power, wealth and power, wealth and power. And it's basically a pain very well documented by Chomsky. And then this event happened, and this event was September 17th, right? Occupy Wall Street happened. And everyone was saying, oh, it's the corporation, it's the corporation. Understand, I had formulated this whole idea of a new kind of startup that would become this new kind of thing, right? And if you go back to my tweets back then and everything else, and my posts and everything, it's not the corporation, it's the startup. Change the startup, right? Change the world, because the startup is what becomes a corporation. So ultimately, I realized that the solution to his problem, right, this pain, wealth and power cycle, which you can read his book that came out in 2017 called The Requiem of the American Dream, or watch the 2015 documentary by the same name, and he discussed it. He discussed this, he puts it in a very succinct way. And what I realized was we needed a new, sandbox. We need to create a new sandbox. And this new sandbox needed to be programmable in the sense that we can change the rules. And I shared all of this with Michal Lisi back started late 2011 through early 2012. I shared with him all my IP, and a lot of these videos now I've put out, right? And instead of being able to recruit them, they took my work and launched Ethereum based on it. And a lot of people would say, well, what, did you write the smart contract? No, I described to you what needs to happen. An engineer figures out the structure, right? I think of Vitalik as my dressmaker. He's a very talented young guy, but he can never explain to you where the idea of the DAO came from. It just appears in his paper. And here is a systematic explanation of where the DAO came from. Because the DAOs ultimately replaced the corporation. And the blockchain, the programmable blockchain purpose is the DAO. And it's missing this other point. And this other point being the gold, right? And the thing is, Satoshi Nakamoto invented the gold, and that gold is Bitcoin. So the reality is that the gold becomes sequestered in these DAOs, and the proto DAO is a day, just like the proto ape is our Homo Nodia, right? So the proto DAO, which is all the proto DAO does is whatever flows through it becomes Bitcoin, gets sequestered by the AI, and it releases more tokens which decay, which means it returns back to the system, right? Because you can't hoard it. And the only way to stop and slow the decay, you can't ultimately stop it, but you slow the decay because it slowly comes back into the system. And that's the cool thing, right? Is it's always feeding back and the system is always paying out, right? Is to stake your ups, your found ups, into the projects, found ups, right? Found ups are ideas that solve localized problems that evolve into their entities. They start off as an entity and they evolve into ecosystems that all work together in solving a problem. And the underlying, they're all stable, they're decaying stable tokens. So the reality is, all of Bitcoin eventually is going to be in days. And what I'm describing is unstoppable, right? So it doesn't matter what Bitcoin magazine and all these maximalists have ideas for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is being held by a few. Satoshi's vision was Bitcoin was for the many. And what I'm introducing is a framework to give Bitcoin to the many via the decaying native tokens of days. It's really that simple. So now you understand the relationship and the importance of found ups and days and how it relates to Bitcoin. And the third component that makes all of this now possible is AI. And ultimately, the purpose of AI is to become a digital twin of you. So it's not there to manipulate you, it's there to protect you, to provide you this AI shield around you. And it ultimately runs the smart DAOs on your behalf. So if you're a member, you don't have to go there and read. It knows how you're going to react. It knows how. And if it doesn't know, the AI, your digital twin, will have a conversation with you about it. And then it'll tell you, like, hey, this is going on with the DAO. How do you want to respond? I think you're going to respond this way. And you'll say, why do you think you would want to respond that way? And it will tell you why it thinks. And so, yeah, that's a good argument. What are other people responding? How is Brock Pierce responding? How is someone else responding? What are their digital twins? Because ultimately, digital twins will talk to each other, right? So they will know everything that's going on with your digital twin. And the cool thing is that simply by giving your public key, right? You give someone your public key of your digital twin, they know immediately that they're dealing with a digital twin. So if you're talking to me right now and you have my public key, you'd know that, hey, you're actually talking to me. If you didn't have the public key, and if I was my digital twin talking, you would have no idea. If I broke up with a girlfriend and reset my digital twin, right, public key and send it out to everyone except for her, she could call me and talk to me, and she'll be thinking that she's talking to my digital twin, and she'll be talking to me, but in fact she's talking to my digital twin. And the digital twin's whole purpose is to help her deal with the separation, right? Not to manipulate her, not to put her, but to be there as a helpful person. Imagine everyone having a digital twin assisting them. They're farming these rice fields and everything else, and all these rice fields becomes a day that is feeding all these villages, and these villages are ultimately consuming, and it's all autonomous and everything else. And because they're eating the rice of the day, they're paying for it in yen. But every time they pay for the yen, it is staked to Bitcoin that is sequestered by the day, and then pays out a dividend, because as the supply of Bitcoin diminishes the value of that Bitcoin that's linked to that purchase, and they don't even need to know that. They don't even have to worry about that because it's all done with AI, is going up in value, and all they know is they're getting this UBD, this universal basic dividend paid out to them. This UBD paid out, and it's forever. It's forever. So it's a dividend that can be passed down to generations. It can, I'm using these solar panels over here. It's creating energy, and all of the day that we set up, in our village is ultimately also a day. So if you're participating, you're sharing in the dividend, the UBD. So UBDs collectively becomes a universal basic income, because as you participate in days versus other corporations, which take your things and pays it out to a few, a day takes yours, and it's not. This isn't communism. This isn't socialism. We don't care about any of that, right? It's like what's happening to the net profits, and everything is run by AGI and autonomous, right? There is no need for CEOs. There is no need for, SEOs, because AGI will handle all of that. And that's the reality, and that's what's coming. And ultimately, ending Noam Chomsky's wealth and power cycle has never been easier. Remember, undo with a smile and laugh. DAO, help those around you. And finally, do, serve. Serve your family, serve your community, serve your planet. I'm UnDaoDu.